Hey, that's us.
Hey guys, welcome and happy Monday night. I'm Rob Whiteside, and this is Rob Loves Everything. It's a series I've put together of things that I just kind of like a bunch of things. So I figured why not do a weekly live stream and talk a little bit about the things that I'm passionate about. If you have not already, please subscribe to this channel. It's called Park Adventurers Club. We'd love to have you, and if you subscribe, that would be great. If you can give us a thumbs up, it would help people to find us. We are just getting started on this channel, so at the end of this, I'll tell you a little bit more about how you can help support the channel, what we've got coming up, all that kind of stuff. But tonight, we are here to talk about Run Disney. I know just by looking at me, you can go, wow, that's a runner. Not even in the slightest. I am a huge Disney fan, and anytime I get an opportunity to do a Disney event of any kind, any experience I haven't had a chance to do before, I definitely want to do it. Heard a lot of people talk about Run Disney. I knew it was super popular. Definitely something that I followed along with. And so my son wanted to do at some point a 5K with me, and I was like, that would be fun. And if I can use that as an excuse to go to Disney, that would be great. The springtime surprise came up last year, and it came up, I think it was August when you could start signing up for it. And I reached out to him and I was like, hey, the 5K sold out, but we can do a 10K. Again, not a runner. So going from 0 to 10K was going to be quite a challenge. But I brought him with me tonight to talk a little bit about our experience. This is my son, Adam. How's it going?
Hello. Good.
That's the level of excitement I was
Great.
looking for from you, buddy. There you go.
Fantastic. I'm all
It's
right.
gonna be a long night. So anyway, I know you had said like let's do a run. I'm certainly sure you didn't mean a
Yep,
10K, and I didn't think that you probably thought we would
I did
start out
not.
by doing it at Disney. But when we
Nope.
signed up in August, I reached out to you and said, "Hey, can we do this?" Reached out to your mom, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're gonna die." And so
Yep.
she didn't want to do it, but she came along with us because I feel like she thought this could be the end for me. I think is what she probably thought. So we signed up for this thing in August of 2023. We're talking about last year's, but again, the springtime surprise just happened again this past weekend. So I felt like the timing was pretty much right to talk about it. There weren't a lot of videos out there specifically talking about like a random experience for Run Disney. So I wanted to do something here that would be like, hey, if you're interested, here's what our story was. Maybe your story would be different, but at least you could see all the steps because I'm surprised, and I think you were too, about how different everything was. So
Oh my
um,
gosh, yes.
I when I first told you about it, you were excited.
I was excited and then also very nervous because I had not run for several years. So there was definitely a lot of dread leading up to the race, but also a lot of excitement because, like you said, this is something we've never done before and it's a new aspect of Disney that we got to experience.
Yeah. Um, Shannon's in chat said, "Remember when they delayed the start of the 2020 marathon because of traffic?" I've got a 2020 story to tell you guys, and we'll talk about it later. But um, when we signed up in August and the race was in April, I convinced your mom. I sold her on the idea that I had plenty of time to train. Um, I did not do that. I feel like you and I
Oh,
both
me
were
neither.
like, yeah, you and I both were like, yeah, we got this. We could do it. And then
I
all of a
think I
sudden,
went for maybe two runs leading up to the race.
same, same. So,
Basically ready.
but we, but exactly. But it was like, okay, I could probably do this because I walk much more than a 5K any day that I'm in a theme park. I do 20,000 steps
Hmm.
easy. What I was
You
worried
Disney
about
walk.
was the Disney walk. Yeah, I get blamed from my family for having the Disney walk, which is walking faster than I normally do because I'm always raring to get to the next place. He's doing his Disney walk again. I get that a lot. But I was really excited to look into like, okay, I got a 5K app, the Couch to 5K. I'm gonna do this. I did none of that. And so probably about March, I was like, this is coming. So I knew I could do like the stamina of a 5K. I was worried about the pacing of a 5K, and we'll talk about that because Disney wants you to be paced at 16 minutes, a 16-minute mile. And I don't think that was me, but there's also this very scary concept called the balloon ladies, who will set the pace at the end, and you know that I was very afraid of the balloon ladies.
Yep.
Which is weird because it's nice ladies who volunteer and have a balloon in their hand, right? So it's like that shouldn't be a bad thing. But it was very scary thinking about that if the balloon ladies pass you, then they try to encourage you to move on, but they may scoop you up in a little shuttle and take you to the end. And yes, you get your medal, but I feel like that would be pretty embarrassing.
No,
So-
yeah, there were murmurs in the crowd before the race. People talking about the balloon ladies, like they're feared.
Yes, exactly. So I had I had some fears going into this. The other thing is, as again, you would know, everybody in our family would know, I don't like to get up in the morning. I'm not an early riser. I'm not what you would call
Oh my God.
someone who is easily woken in the morning. So I freaked out a little bit
me
about that. Here, let me show you the fears. These were the countdown, I believe, of the fears that I had going on. Getting to bed early, because I get to bed at like 2 a.m., missing the alarm the next morning, finding the bus that takes us over there, getting to the race, and then keeping pace with the balloon ladies. Like, were you afraid of any of that stuff?
I would say the first four, definitely very afraid. I was very, very nervous about missing the bus. I was super nervous about getting there and having no idea where to go. Because it's enormous once you get there. There's people everywhere lining up to spectate, lining up for the race, going to the pre-race rave that they had.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to back up a little bit before that, though. These were the fears I had going on. We flew down. I was planning on flying down on a Friday. Our friend Allie, who we know from other shows I've done. Allie is a runDisney fanatic, and she said you can't come on Friday because you have to go and get your bib and your shirt. If you come late Friday night, you can't go and get it anywhere. You have to be there Friday while they're open. So we flew in. We added an extra day. We flew in Thursday night to Orlando. We went first, and we stayed at the Old Key West. I love Old Key West. Here's a picture of you hanging out with the Welcome Home Whiteside family. Man,
That's
this was
such a nice room.
There was way too much space for us in this one, but I really appreciate it. This was also the Thursday night before the Friday that Torture Poets dropped. And I know that you're a huge Swiftie, so I was counting down Torture Poets radio from the hotel room, getting that ready, but we knew that was a thing. So I talked to you ahead of time and was like, let's just stay up. Let's just stay up Friday into Saturday so we don't have to worry about the getting to sleep. We're going to be excited. We don't have to worry about the waking up. And your mom was there, and she was the voice of reason, and she was like,
I thought it was a good plan. It was a bad plan. We shouldn't. I'm glad we did not do that.
No, not at all. So she was like, no. You're not doing that. I'm taking control of this situation, and God, thank you that she did, because she had a whole schedule assigned for us. So Friday morning, she wanted us to get up earlier than we normally would. So we planned a breakfast at Ale and Compass, which I love the Ale and Compass breakfast because you can get an entree and a buffet. Who doesn't like extra food? And so we did the Ale and Compass at the yacht club, and
because having a reservation meant we had to get up. Like we couldn't just stay in bed and hit snooze. We had somewhere to be.
So this is part of it. This is part of our journey. Our strategy was that we got in Thursday night, went to bed, forced ourselves to get up and go and get this breakfast the next morning. It was Flower and Garden Festival at Disney or at Epcot. So we went and did the Flower and Garden Festival at Epcot on that Friday. Hung out a little bit, got some good food. By the way, I can't get past this stuff. This was great. These French toast bites that they had with the candied bacon and that brunch cotton. Yeah, that was a good thing. So now we're just park hopping. We're just hanging out in the parks. But we had to go and pick up our bibs and our shirts at the ESPN Wide World of Sports. I've never been there before. You had never been there before.
I didn't know it existed at all.
Yeah.
It was
So
massive property.
were you excited to at least like see some part of Disney World that you'd never seen before?
Yeah, once I got there, I thought we were just going to be swinging by some building and picking the thing up, and it's this whole like basically another park worth of property that I didn't know existed. It
Yeah.
was massive. They had so many buildings, all these huge athletic fields.
Yeah. I mean, it was very cool. They had signage and things on the ground and all that kind of stuff that we could see for the event, and it really did feel like this was like your welcome to this event situation.
Yeah.
I was very excited to be there, and to look around and again to see another part of Disney that I hadn't experienced before. And like you said, there was like different arenas and basketball courts and the baseball fields and all that kind of stuff out there. And it was really neat to be able to have a reason to see it because otherwise we never would have gone out
No.
there. Yeah,
No.
I mean there would have been no reason for us to go out there. So once you get out there, you wait in line. Here's a picture. I was waiting in line. We didn't get our pictures taken. We did the up run for the springtime surprise. We didn't actually get our picture taken up close with Doug, but he was out there. We figured this was just about as close as we could get without waiting in a long line. But it's like it's you and I have been to conventions before. We've been to an
Hmm.
anime convention. We've been to Star Wars Celebration. This felt like a convention, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely, it did. Yeah, they had all
Yeah.
these huge convention rooms filled with all these different things. Like it
Yeah.
really felt like a convention space.
So this is our bib that we got the 10K Adventure is Out There run, which had Russell on it. Which, as you guys know, who've watched shows on the other network that I was on, I ranked Pixar movies and
You're gonna
ranked
make people mad.
Lightyear. I know, ranked Lightyear above Up, not because I don't love Up, but it was very
uh,
apropos that we would get Up as our run. So there were 4 runs or 3 runs and a challenge. So you could have done the 5K, which was the Neverland, which sold out instantly. The
mm,
10K, which was the Up one, and then there was a Lion King 10 miler. So the Neverland was on Friday, the 10K was on Saturday, and then the Lion King one was on Sunday. And if you completed all 3 of them, that was Stitch's Ohana challenge, and you got a Stitch medal. So
I'm glad the 10K was not sold out because that 10 miler is not happening. That would have just been maybe we'll do it next year.
yeah. Yeah, but like you said, there were all these different rooms. They were showcasing like athletic equipment and socks and massages and all of this kind of stuff. Which they've got these banners up, and it was really neat to see all of this stuff over here. And I was glad that we got a chance to do it. There was no lack of places to get your picture taken. Here we are in front of
No,
the
yeah.
the front of the 10K sign, and then of course we got our shirts, and you're wearing the one that came with the race that you picked up at the
Yep.
shirt exchange. I'm wearing one that we bought at they also had a merch area where they sold merch because of course it's Disney. Why wouldn't there be a place that sells merch? And the merch area was crazy because they had all these displays, and I'm like, where do these displays live the rest of the year?
Yeah, what are they
So again,
from? Like, did they make these for this
no,
area? They had to be from
no.
somewhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
they were
so
they
curious.
definitely would have been. But here's a look at what the merch looked like. You could walk into this big room. Again, another arena, obviously,
And
and then
everyone we go into, we round a corner and there's an entire another room full of who knows what that we were not expecting. Like I think when we first went in there to pick up the bibs, that's all I thought we were gonna do. And then there's this whole sales floor, like you said, with all the shoes and socks and water bottles and athletic gear. And that feels like it could be its own entire convention. And then we
yeah,
round the corner, I thought, to an exit, and then now there's an entire another whole room full of official merch. Like there's so much to it.
yeah. No, I agree. Stormy Stitch is saying I wanted that Stitch medal. I honestly,
It's too far. It's too far to run. It's not worth it.
I mean, that's not even a full marathon, man. Like, aren't you like, you're kind of a runner more than I am, obviously. I never ran in my life. I always looked at people who ran and was like, what are you running from? Why are you doing this? Like, I mean, a treadmill I sort of get, but like, yeah, people who are like, I get that runner's high. I never got that. But then again, as we mentioned, I never trained. So, I mean, I don't know where I was going to get it from. Dawn
If
says
it
so
wasn't
much
this
merch
race,
there. Yeah. By the way, no popcorn buckets. Seems like a missed opportunity.
yeah, what? You got to
No
refuel during the
popcorn.
race.
Yeah,
Crazy.
exactly. We should have had popcorn buckets available on the race
Uh-huh.
course.
You
That
get
should have been
water
a thing.
bottles and popcorn buckets.
Yep, exactly. So anyway, so that experience alone was very cool. And again, this is not a cheap race to do. And a lot of things like in my history of, working with radio stations and philanthropies and things like that, races were always something you did if it's an organized race to sort of like raise money for something. For every mile I do, we're going to, donate to Habitat for Humanity or something like that. That's not this. This is like you give Disney money for the joy and the benefit of being able to come and buy merch from them and
Then
run.
wake up at 3 a.m.
We woke up at like 2:45. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. But again, but they sell out like that, and so they're gone in an instant. I mean, I think some of the time, like the challenges are left. Sometimes, so you have to buy all the runs to be able to get that. I'm glad we did what we did, but again, we'll talk about that a little bit more. So, one of the things you were excited about, now I'll let you talk about this, was you spotted something while we were there. You
Oh, yes.
spotted this.
Oh my gosh. I lost my mind. I was so excited about that. And it's such a dumb thing. But I always get excited when I see anything from the parks that used to be somewhere else and then they've repurposed it. Like the old Dreamfinder machine that used to be in Mouse Gears. I loved that. I would take a picture of that every time. But this was, I believe, the same one that used to be in MGM Studios, the big Coke bottle that would mist you when you walked by. And they had like I think a little Coke stall next to it. I think it's the same one, and we saw it from really far away, and I was like, we got to turn around and go look at it.
Yeah,
And
and I think
I
the place
think it,
where those machines are would have been like the counter where they may have served something out of
yeah,
it.
hmm
Yeah,
but I
pretty
think it
cool.
was still running. I think we saw it open up.
Yeah. Well, we got in trouble. We got yelled at because
Yeah, we did.
we were down too close, and you were like
Yeah,
taking a step, trying to get your picture,
yeah,
and somebody's like, excuse me, you got to
yeah.
get out of here." And it's like
I wanted to walk over and look at it, but
you wanted
not
to touch
supposed to
it.
be over there. I did
Yeah,
want to touch it. Yeah.
yeah. That sounds about right. Son, what did I tell you about touching things that are not yours? That's weird.
We
All
were
right.
quick enough not to get caught.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I told you. Just be smart about it. Be smart. Don't get caught.
Yep.
So here's something that's controversial after that. So we went to the parks. We got up early. We did that. We followed mom's instructions. We got up early and we had breakfast. Then we went over to Epcot. Then we went over to the ESPN Wide World of Sports. We got our T-shirts and our bibs and our merch. And I didn't get a ton of merch. I know that everyone is shocked and astounded, but I had to get some stuff. Like, so I got this shirt, which was the pay to get it shirt, and I also got these medals. So we have the two 10K Springtime Surprise. I say medals; these are pins. What I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so those were the only the pieces of merch that I bought from this, but I did, obviously buy some merch. So here's the thing that I feel like some people told me this is the wrong thing to do, but you were convinced this was the right thing to do because we had done ESPN. It was starting to get late, and when I say late, it was like 5 o'clock, and we were supposed to be in bed by like 7:30, maybe. I
Yeah.
forget what our bedtime was,
It was
and you
ambitious.
were like. You were like, we have to carb load the night before.
Yep.
Get me to an Italian restaurant. And we went to Terralina at Springs, which I think people question Terralina, but we went, and I think we had a pretty good meal.
I loved it. It was
Because you
exactly
were
what I
like,
wanted.
yeah, you were like, I need to carb load. So you got like spaghetti, and you got bread, and you just really
Yep.
kind of did all that. You can see somebody sitting there with the green Finisher Neverland shirt over
Yeah.
onto the side there.
We were seeing a lot of those around
Yeah.
that whole
Oh yeah.
weekend.
I mean, you gotta dress for success. You gotta wear your
Yeah, why
shirt
wouldn't you
and
show off if you just
your
ran?
medal. Yeah, that's the whole reason you do it.
People
Um,
wearing their medals to the parks, I thought was crazy. I would never do that. That's gonna fall and get scratched up.
because you got collector syndrome that like I do. That's the bad habit
Yeah,
that
I
I
wonder where I
passed
got
on to
that
you.
from.
Sorry. So this was me. I had some chicken parm. It was really pretty good. But I had some people that tell me that's like the opposite of what you're supposed to do. But again, I was following your lead on this one. Mom was in charge of the sleep schedule. I was following your lead on the food schedule, and this is what we did.
What were other people
Um,
telling you to do?
Not carb load the night before.
Oh.
That you need protein, and then move on. But who knows? So I feel like that all went well, and then we went back to our room and went or tried to go to sleep. I feel like melatonin was suggested. I can't remember if I took it or not. So
I was
probably
afraid I wouldn't wake up if I took anything.
I just remember saying to your mom, "Now you're sure you can wake us up? You're sure?
Yeah.
You sure
I
you can
had
wake
two
us up?"
alarms set on my phone.
Yeah. So we got up at like 2:30 or 3 because the problem is you had to be over at the race, and I didn't know. Like I said, once we get on the transportation, I had thought about driving. We rented a car. I thought about driving, and everybody's like, no, 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 don't do that because it's at the Epcot parking lot. And so they were like, take the bus. It drops you off right there. Well, it didn't drop us off right there. I feel like I did a 5K before we did our 10K from
We
where they
walked
dropped
so
us
far.
off. But again, we were staying at Old Key West. We drove because I didn't walk to the main building. We drove to the main building for a run.
Yeah.
It was a little weird. But they had a lot of signage, which I was thankful for because I was like, do you get on the regular bus or do you get on? So they had buses that were specifically chartered for the race day weekend. And again, the signage was good. I think I actually went the night before when we got back
Yeah,
to
I
Old
was
Key
gonna
West
say.
and asked somebody like again, are you
Mhm.
sure this is where this happened? Because I
Yeah.
did not want to be caught hey, we're rolling up to the race and it's already over.
Yeah.
So that next morning, and I say morning loosely because it looked like this is not morning, this is
That's
still
nighttime.
night.
Hmm.
There's Adam in his Figment 1983 purple shirt getting on. We decided to go with our team shirts from the March Madness way back when, or and so this is the lineup of these buses. And I was like, oh, good. Like they are ready for us. Like they're not messing around. We got on the bus and man, this is where like the costuming comes into play. So many costumes. Like I feel like that guy might have been dressed like Kevin. Maybe there were a lot of Kevins. You can still see
Yeah.
like there was a disgust on one side, a sadness on the other side, maybe fear. Maybe this whole line was from Inside Out. But people are there in blankets. They're just. It is not a happy crew at that time of the morning.
No.
Honestly, it was a little early for all of us. I think we were a little sleepy. We were a little tired.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this was one of my favorites. This guy dressed up like Doug and yeah, and Russell. So I think that the person in front is Doug, and then there's Russell over to the side, maybe. Which is perfect for that. A lot of people, dress specifically for that.
The costumes were
So
so cool. I was not expecting that at all. I was like,
yeah.
this is a 10K. There's no way people are going to be dressing up like it's Halloween. But I felt a little out of place with how many people were dressed up,
So
like
this
in
is the
full
dirge
costume.
walk that we did from the Epcot bus stop all the way over to the Epcot parking lot. So we got dropped off by the Epcot bus stops, walked all the way over in front of the building, down past Epcot, turned right, went up into the parking lot, over. It felt like forever to get there. So I'm so
Hmm.
glad we were on that first bus. But the first bus stopped at Old Key West, picked us up there, and then went to Saratoga Springs. And I'm like, well, what are these jokers doing? I thought this was our bus.
Yeah.
But people got on from Saratoga, and then they took us over to Epcot. Now it is kind of cool to see Spaceship Earth at this time of the morning. This
It's
guy may have
awesome.
also been a runner. I don't know. Um, but I'm trying to like take it all in and capture the moment and all that as we're walking through. But it was a pretty neat vibe. But again, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how early it is. Then we got to see as we walk by it, the finish line is already set up for the 10K. The bleachers are set up for the 10K. Your mom was with us. She was there to cheer us on at this point. She had gotten us there, and again, I think she was just hoping that nothing bad happened, and at least I made it past the finish line. I think she was okay with you. I think she probably figured you were gonna make it okay.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know
uh,
if this was just me, but seeing all this stuff at night or early in the morning, and
yeah, it
then
wasn't
where they
night.
let us off, and where we had to go, it was really disorienting. Like this was an angle of the park that I hadn't seen before, and I was very turned around. I was like, "Where are we? Like, what's going on?"
Yep. As we're walking that line, we walked past this incredible like
Oh
line of
yeah.
Gatorade or Powerade that's lined up here, which is just like, what is this for? Again, because you're right, you're very disoriented. We don't know like what's going on. We didn't know anything. I didn't ask a lot of questions,
Mm,
so
nope.
yeah,
I think we did. I think there's just a lot to know. I think we asked
true.
a ton of questions.
That is true. And again, if you guys are with us in the chat, and I appreciate it, I see a bunch of people. I see Ronald Care Bear, William, Alicia. If you guys are here with us, if you got any questions, hit us up. Let us know. We'll try to monitor the chat and make sure that we answer that. Here's the woman. Here's the lady that got us there. There's your mom. She's
Yeah.
she's holding her water bottle. By the way, that was not for you. But just like when we went to the ESPN Wide World of Sports and they had the characters there, they had some characters set up for us over at this event. So we walk through everything, and then it kind of dumps out into a parking lot. One side has the bleachers for the spectators that are going to it. The other side has a stage with a DJ. I know you love a live DJ. Comment on how much you love a live DJ.
I hate live DJs. I think they're so annoying. The
Let
worst
me hear
was
you.
yeah, at 3 in the morning is not what I want to be hearing. Was it Star Wars Celebration where we were
Yes.
trapped in the room waiting to get
Yes.
in, and they had a
Yes.
DJ right there, also super early in the morning, just
Mm-hmm.
forcing the whole crowd. I don't
Yep.
know who that's for. It's not for me, uh, but it's for someone, I guess. Otherwise, everyone wouldn't keep doing 3 a.m. DJs.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. It was kind of nuts, honestly. But again, they had this huge stage set up and they had two of them. They had like one main stage set up in this area where you were hanging out, and then like they had a whole line of porta potties, and so this was kind of like the zone to get ready before you got put into your corral.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So the corral was definitely a thing. I was trying to remember. So they're all by letter, and we were in B, I believe. So I thought we were going to get into A. We did not. Your bib will
Because
indicate.
we're A tier material.
Yeah. Your bib will indicate where you're going. So this, you can see it's turned to the side, but this is B is on there. So they make sure that you're where you're supposed to be. So you go into the A corral or the B corral, C, and I think there's a D. I don't know that there was an E. If there were, sorry for y'all. But we were in the B corral, and so what they do is they take the groups of people and put them in the corrals, and then they let the A corral go in groups, and then they push everybody in B like cattle up into the next area, and then they release you in that same fashion. So
It
just
was
to give
packed. It was bumper to bumper. Like we were inching forward because we wanted to be
Yes.
as close to the front as we could.
Yep, love thy neighbor. That's what we were doing right
Yeah.
there.
Oh my gosh, there's no breathing room. If you're claustrophobic, that's not the place for you.
Yeah, here's another shot. This was one I think I took to freak your mom out because of like what it
Yeah.
looked like. So this was the
Yep.
second, like maybe the second stage that had a DJ on, or there was maybe just a TV up on this one, and
Yeah,
then there was
they just
another
have a
one
bunch
over
of
by the entrance.
TVs along the troughs
Yeah.
for you to watch while you're sitting there, so you don't get
Yep.
too rammy.
Yep. Here's our line of porta potties in case you're wondering. Hey, I'm gonna go, but will I be able to hit the restroom before I actually get in the race? Yes, you will. There are plenty
Yes.
of them. You can see there is plenty of seating, as they would say. So here's the crowd again, just massive. So
Everyone dressed up too.
yeah, I love the costumes. This girl had this like adventurous out there like bow in her hair. That was cute. There was some people. There was a dude, and I don't know if I have a picture of him, who was dressed like. Do you know what I'm gonna say?
Yeah,
Look.
like Kevin.
No, the Kevin was
No?
great. I was gonna say the Jack
Yeah.
Sparrow. Apparently, there's a guy who runs the
Oh yeah.
entire race like Jack Sparrow. Like, I
I
mean,
I've
and
told so many people that story and
yeah.
how he finished before us both.
Now I'm going to get to that because you were kind to me, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you. You were kind to me. So here's a shot of like as we're rounding the corner, as we're being herded like cattle in our corrals, which is a convenient term for it. We're getting pushed towards that entrance, and you can see the plumes of smoke. They get a group together. They basically do an on your mark, get set, go, and they fire off fireworks, and everybody starts to run, or in our case, walk fast.
Yep.
But you can see like some Kevin like feathers here in the bottom, and yeah, I mean it's just a sea of humanity that's out there at this point. I did take this picture of us in this crowd. Like, what are we? What did we do? And you can see just as far as you can see behind us, there was even more people because again, we're in the B corral. We're actually pretty close to the front of the B corral. It felt like just
Yeah, we did
so
we did
many
good.
people. Yeah. Again, look at that sad puppy. The sad she's got the Doug thing going on, and then there's the so many yellow like
Yeah, yellow
Russell
and blue.
like yeah lookalikes out there. That was something. So we get up to the front. I think they brought in maybe people who needed assistance to race not far before us. People who are it was like a Paralympic situation that
Yeah.
they did. But we got up to the start of it, and we're ready to go. The fireworks went off. I don't remember. I think I have that here. Yep. But I didn't.
They
I
give the
didn't.
group in front of you a pretty good head start too, so you don't trample each other. Like in that video,
Yeah.
you can see that like there's no one in front of us.
Yeah, I certainly didn't want to stick around too long after they shot this, but I think we all had our phones up and we're going ready, go. But they
Yeah.
have somebody on the side who's like, pumping you up. It's like, are you guys ready? And they're playing Disney music, and it was a blur to me because your sensory overload when you're there. Like reliving it now,
Yeah.
I almost don't remember half of this because it was 2:30 in the morning when we left our room. I think this was
Yeah.
close to like 5 a.m., 5:20 maybe,
We
5:15,
hung
somewhere
around
around
for a
there.
while before the race started.
Yeah, because you have to get to the race and then you have to get queued up and then you go. But again, I think that we left around 5:17, maybe somewhere in that
Yeah,
range.
that sounds right.
But again, so it was a neat situation with that.
It
So
was
you had to
exciting. It
start
was
there.
super exciting.
So here's where it gets weird for me, and I don't remember what your thoughts were on that. And I remember asking this question to Allie and saying, like, wait, what? So they have some rare character opportunities on the
Oh
race
yeah.
course. So on the one hand, they're going, look, there are these ladies, and if you fall behind them, we will scoop you up on a shuttle and take you back, in shame to
Yeah. Absolutely. You've lost.
yeah, exactly. You've lost. So but along the path they have all of these character spots where you can stop and stand in line to take a picture with these rare characters. Now, Little John was there, which that would have been really cool to see.
Love Little
I
John.
think the
Very
very first
tempting.
one might have been this Vanellope
Penelope.
that we ran into with a little, kind of a little Sugar Rush setting and everything.
Yeah.
But there are
Little
people
mini set.
standing. They're standing in line. Were you like? What were
There's a
your thoughts
lot of
on that?
people standing in line. I was surprised. I was like, "There's a race to run. What are we doing here? The balloon
Yeah,
ladies are coming. We gotta go. We gotta move."
you
But
weren't afraid of the
I
balloon ladies.
nah. But I mean, if I'm standing in enough character lines, maybe that
Yeah.
starts to become a more realistic threat.
Now
But
this is
I
early in the morning, and and I'm not wanting to stop, so I did take this picture, and it is a little blurry. But this is
yeah,
a family dressed up as Donald and Daisy and Mickey. So what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say I could see the strategy of sprinting from one character stop to another. Just give yourself a breather.
Yeah. Well, when you took this on with me, you were like, "I will walk with you for the first half, but I'm gonna run
Yep.
the second half." And I respect
Mm.
that. And you were nice enough to hang back with your old man. I totally appreciate that.
No, it was good.
I I was ready to do a little bit of running, I think, but not a lot. And when I say running, I'm loosely saying move faster than walking. But we walked at a pretty good click, and I think that we kept that pace. I think you can do a 16-minute mile if you
Oh,
were walking
easily.
fast.
Yeah, for sure.
So here's a picture of us walking past people waiting in line for, I think this was the Vanellope thing maybe, or this may have been Encanto, I think was the next one up. So this is still
Oh, that's
Vanellope.
Penelope. The
Yeah, but
line is
look at
so
that,
long too.
right? Well, and that was the first character greeting right out of the
Yeah.
bat. So the course for this one starts at Epcot parking lot. You go up the road, then you turn and come back up the road some more, and then you turn back and come over the bridge, and then you come and you go back by behind those scenes at Epcot, go to the Crescent Lake resorts, go all the way around there, and then come through Epcot again, and then back behind Test Track, and then back to basically where you started. So you do get some time in the park. Running in the park is cool. We'll talk about that in a second. But again, a lot of this was just on the road. So I get that that's probably why they're like, okay, we got to get these people off the road. So, there's got to be a time limit.
And spice it up a little.
You
You're not just
mean,
running boring on the asphalt the whole time.
yeah, but I'd want to
They,
run
they
in the
did a
park
good
the whole
job.
time.
Yeah, but we can't just be running in circles. I think they did a good job making the non-park areas more exciting. I feel like they didn't have as much entertainment stuff inside the park because the park is the exciting part.
Yeah.
But
Alicia says,
the
I usually
non-park,
just run and wave at them. Yeah, I think that's.
yeah,
Hey,
that's
guys.
as good as you're gonna get.
William says the only race he'll ever run in is one where he gets to run his mouth. Uh, Dawn says my husband always gets good character picks because he's faster. See, that's the
We
part,
talked
Dawn,
about that.
but that's the part I don't understand. Dawn specifically is like, if you're a good runner, I feel like you do different runs because you want to get a good time. If you're a
Mhm.
bad runner, but you're a huge Disney fan, I feel like you want to stop and see all the characters, but you're not going to make it. So I feel like there's a weird middle ground of, I don't really care how I do on the race, but I can run fast enough to keep pace and I can get these character spots.
We had talked about sending someone ahead to get a spot in line for the characters. I think jokingly, saying
Yeah,
that we
what?
have someone sprint ahead and the rest of the group catches up.
Well, it wasn't going to be me. I can tell you that much. Um, So yeah. Now there were some like mile markers along the way. So here's a picture of me at mile 2. You can tell I've looked like I've just about had it. I've got my Cranium Command uh, March Madness shirt on, and you were wearing your Figment one. But those were kind of cool. Brought to you by Citizen, obviously. Disney never misses an opportunity to do sponsorship. So those were sponsored spots, but this is mile 2, 41 minutes and 40 seconds in. So, and again, it's a 5K, so we had some more distance to go. What I
Yeah,
was
they
surprised
still.
about, right? What I was surprised about was there were a lot of sort of surprises to me, surprise and delight situations. Obviously, the characters, it was cool to see who was there. Jake sent us pictures the night before and was like, oh my gosh, Stitch's cousins are going to be there. So we had to on the lookout for them because they'd been there, I think, for the 5K, and we couldn't find them.
I was so excited for those, and
I know.
they were not there,
Yeah,
and I was
that was
very
sad.
disappointed.
But there was a marching band, a full marching band in full marching band gear out there.
Yep,
So
there they are.
by that point in the race, we had gone through, the DJs at the beginning, the fireworks gate. We come through and we get to the Vanellope. I'm pretty sure there was an Encanto with maybe Mirabelle and Bruno. And then we round the corner and come up. And this is when we ran into this band. And this band,
Yeah.
man, it wasn't just like they had a couple people come out like, hey, let's just have the brass section. It was the dance team. The entire band was out there. Now, this was, I think they were between sets, so we didn't get the music from that one. But they were out there cheering everybody on. That was pretty exciting.
I
And
wonder
then,
how long they were there doing that, because like this is a pretty long race. Like,
yeah, Yeah, probably the entire race, I would assume.
Guess
Here's
so.
Little John. So
Oh
there's a
yeah.
tent over to the side. He's got the bow and arrow set up. I think you and I saw the bow and arrow. I mean, not the bow and arrow, the target from the bus, and we're like, oh, it's gonna be Merida. I did
Yeah,
anyway.
that's what I thought it was gonna be. Yep.
Yeah, clearly it's gonna be Merida, and short of that, oh, it's probably Robin Hood. Nope, nope, it was Little John. So
Little John just
this is the
cleaning
part,
the target
Alicia,
off for
where
Robin Hood.
I'm waving, and then there he is. There's the boy.
Bye.
Yeah, that that was probably one of the rarest characters that I think we came across in that whole thing. So,
I think
and
the Meet
again,
the
so
Robinsons.
look at the line though for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one in a
All
second. But
the
the
lines are crazy. All the
yeah
lines are crazy. Honestly,
yeah
maybe towards the end, I think the lines were getting shorter. I think people were getting tired.
towards the end of the race. So
Yeah.
here there was Woody was here, and again you would hear music, like you would hear like "Friend and Me," like as we were walking by. So like I feel
Mhm.
like they hardly missed a trick. Now this is Allie's friend Steph, is the one in the rainbow skirt there. She stopped to take pictures of each of the characters, which again I think is easy enough to do. If there's a long line for the characters, you can stop and take a picture. I did one of these as we were going by.
Yep.
Because I was too afraid of those balloon ladies. They were coming after me,
They're
and
coming.
I took this one actually pretty much for William, I think, because he was the one who roused me the most about Up. And so I wanted to make sure to capture this moment with Carl Fredrickson in the background there and his little tent. And but again, it was late or early, and I'm tired. And yeah, I wasn't going to stop and wait in the line to meet him, but I did consider it for a minute. Turk was there. Turk was like hanging out, and again, I appreciate the little sets. You can see this woman doing a little selfie in front of there rather than standing in the line to meet Turk. So, yeah, all that was pretty cool. Here's again the coming up on Carl hanging out, and you oh look at that, isn't that cute? Like it's little Ellie.
I think, and I don't remember if you have pictures of these, but between some of these characters, they had projectors up where they were showing clips from Up.
Well, they had this. It may have been on that screen.
Yeah, maybe.
So here's
But
backstage behind the land at Epcot. So this is
so
where we're all
cool.
making it through. You see some people jogging. The people who were jogging, yeah, these were the screens. Some people were jogging. Probably the people jogging had already passed us. Some people were just walking quickly, and some people were walking sadly. So at this point, we're doing pretty well. And I kept annoying Steph to say, hey, she had a tracker that would tell her where everyone was so she could see where she
Yep.
was, all that kind of stuff. I should have pulled that up, but I didn't know that was a thing that existed. And I'm asking her, where are the balloon ladies? Where are the balloon ladies? We were almost, I think, an hour ahead of the balloon ladies before I was
Yeah.
like, okay, we're good. Because I think we left at like 5:08, 5 somewhere in there. And they came out because they were letting people go in like groups of like 10 seconds, 10 seconds, and then they let them go, I think, a little after 6, after everyone else had been released. They let them go.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, now I don't have to worry about the balloon ladies. I was having a pretty good time.
Mm. And
So
the reason for that, I don't remember if we already said, was so they can have everyone cleared out before they have to open up the parks.
yeah,
They can't just
yeah,
be having people running this when it's opening time. Like,
crawling the
yeah,
last mile.
that's
Yeah.
why it's so ungodly early.
So here's the 3 mile marker, which is representative for two reasons. One is this is when you started running, I think,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
two is it's Figment. So yeah, I mean, were you excited when you got to this point and
I
you
was
started taking
super
off?
excited. I went to try to take a picture of Figment, and I think I just like completely lost track of the group around then. But yeah, that's what I wanted to switch to running, because I'm okay with a 5K, but I didn't want to do a whole 10K, and I wanted to do at least some of it with the rest of you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
So
exciting. We'd already hit, I think, one or two water stations by this point also. So
yeah, I don't
they
think I
do
took
have
pictures of the
those
water stations because I think I was
along the
getting
way.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just-
Yeah, there were a couple water stations that you could go to. That run, we went from the road back in to the back of Epcot. We're backstage, and then came out by Imagination maybe, and then we went
Yeah.
back into No, we had already been through the Crescent Lake at that point, right? So we had been through all the resorts. I don't think I took any pictures over there because I don't think there was anything to see. I don't think there were characters for most of it. Maybe not.
I
No,
think
no,
I
we
ran
weren't there
during.
yet. We weren't
Yeah,
there
I
yet.
ran the Crescent Lake portion because that's when I missed one of the characters because I was running.
Yeah.
I didn't even see
So
him.
so we were over here by the Pixar Shorts Film Festival, and there was like a little Figment thing that you could stop and take a picture of. By the way, there were cameras all throughout the course, so
Mhm.
we did get pictures after the fact.
They were
Of
really good pictures too. They've got
Yeah,
the cameramen and their little tents set up all along the way.
yeah,
I
and
I, I would always try to look cool when I would run up by one of them. Like I'd be like huffing and puffing and sweating, and I'd be like, "Oh, there's a camera. I gotta look like I'm not dying."
no, same. I was definitely trying to ham it up a little bit for the running, and I mean for the cameras. And when I would start
Mhm.
running a little bit, I think that Allie and Steph, who were still with me, were like, "Please, what are you doing? Why are you running?" Because they did the 5K, and I think they walked that, and then they did the 10K with us, and then they did the 10 miler. So I think they were trying to pace themselves for
Yeah.
this whole thing. So. I want to see if I can pull up some of our photos from these things here, but
They were good.
it
They
may take.
had an example of one of those tents earlier in the convention area to show you what it looked like, just so that
What to look
everyone was
for.
aware. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
they did a good job
Um,
prepping on time.
yep. So as we're running through this thing, and again, like if it was a 5K, we'd have been done by now. But no, no,
Oh,
no,
easy.
no. We had to sign up for a 10K. So we did Crescent Lake. We went around there. I think this is a picture of us. I was very afraid of that. Oh, sorry, that's a picture of you. I was very afraid of that hill that happens right when you leave
Oh
Epcot
yeah,
in the
that
back and
sucked.
go straight up. Yeah,
That was not fun.
no, that was definitely not
A
fun. There was
long incline.
actually behind the or right before we got to the Canada Pavilion, before we actually I think went out there, they had this band that was out there playing music, which doesn't seem to fit Canada. But
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even think I noticed them.
because you were running,
Yeah,
take time
that's
to
one of the good things about walking. If you walk, you see everything. If you run, you're gonna miss a lot of it. And
take time
I
to
did
smell
miss
the
a good amount.
roses. Chippendale Rescue
Yeah,
Rangers. Did you see them? They were over by World Showcase Pavilion.
I did. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
So
were cool in
again,
their Rescue Ranger gear.
yeah.
That's a little bit
Um,
rare. I feel like you don't see that every day.
Well, no, not every day, but yeah. So here's the us going around Crescent Lake again. Not you. You were way ahead of us at this point. But all the way around by the beach club, yacht club, Swan,
Yep.
Dolphin, back to the boardwalk.
Whole loop.
Running on the boardwalk felt a little weird to me.
I agree. Yeah, the wood was like a little strange, and then there were people lined up there like with noisemakers, but I feel like they were asked not to make noise because people are trying to sleep in those hotels right there. I don't remember if there were signs or something, but I remember there being something about like please don't make too much noise. They didn't
Yeah.
have music playing or anything.
Yep.
And am I imagining this? Were there a few DJs along the run? I feel like I remember there being DJs
Yes.
like on the course.
Yeah, there were DJs, but there was that band that I just showed you. There was another band
Yep.
on the other side of World Showcase Pavilion, I think. And again, lots of character meet and greets. This is Wilbur from Meet the Robinsons over here by the Atlantic
Love.
Dance. And you said you saw him or you didn't see him when you
No,
ran?
completely missed him. I was devastated. I'm a huge Meet the Robinsons fan.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Just
who
completely
isn't?
missed him.
Yeah,
It's a great movie.
it is. So yeah, so that was him. I think I have some actual like video of people like
Yeah,
look at that line. Look at that
just,
line. Let's look at that
and then
again.
just get right back to it.
Yeah. But again, running on that boardwalk, I felt like was not great. But you could see it was just
No,
so many
yeah.
people out there and lights up and everything. So then the sun was coming up, so it was a pretty neat view at that point
It was
as we
beautiful.
came back into Epcot. But again, at this point, you were nowhere to be found because you had left me in the dust.
Yeah. Had to
But you
do
stayed
it.
with me for the first part, buddy, and that's really
Yeah.
more than you had to do.
And
I mean,
if I'm
maybe it
being
was for
honest,
you. I don't know.
that first part was more fun. You know, running the second part was not quite as fun.
No?
But it felt good to do. It
Okay.
was fun. Normally I feel a little bad running around the parks, but this is a free pass.
Yeah. I'm still scrolling through here trying to see if I could find our Disney pictures from the run that they took.
What was the
I,
song that they were playing? Was it Powerline?
yeah, Eye to
That
Eye?
second band?
I
Yeah,
think so, yeah.
that
Yeah,
was
it was Eye to
so
Eye.
cool. That blew me away. I was not expecting that at all. We rounded the corner and there's another whole like school band playing Eye to Eye.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Here's one of your cool shots of you running that they took
Yeah,
right by China.
super
So,
cool.
yeah. I mean, living the dream, right?
Yeah.
There was
No,
one
that's
picture. This is me not being cool. This is me
they catch you
going,
off guard
"Oh,
with that one.
yeah. Oh, look, there's a photographer. Look at there." But I did have a couple of them that I was pretty proud of that like I was like, "Oh, okay, I look like I know what I'm doing here." So just to redeem myself, I need to see if I can find that one real quick, but oh, this one. I love this one. I don't even know what I was doing here. Like I've
What was
literally
happening there?
I don't know. This was me coming. This was like coming out from behind Crescent Lake. This was like by the Imagination Pavilion. I don't
Where
know.
is everyone else? Are you running this race by yourself? You're
I'm
the
just a
only one in
madman.
that shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So anyway, the sun was coming up. It was things were looking up. We were almost done. My Disney side of me had to take a picture of this because it was the Dante uh, um, the Dante
Theory?
with the projection mapping on him
Oh
that I
yeah.
hadn't seen at night before, so I had to see that. The topiary is the word I was struggling for so hard. There was actually Duffy. Duffy was actually there. Did you remember Duffy was
I
there?
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah,
For a
that's
million
it.
dollars, I could not have named Duffy as one of the characters on that race.
Well, I mean, he was also on one of the mile markers. So here it
Yeah,
is,
I
mile
may have missed that
five,
too.
1 hour and 34, 35 roundup minutes for me. I think you may have already been at the water station at the end by this point, so I'm not really sure. But this is where we're getting close to the end. This is us in, I mean, not you, but this is us in the me yeah, in Epcot, headed back towards Creations and doing our best to chug along. And I think I can. And stamina was never a problem for me, especially when I'm walking. That was not ever going to be
Mhm.
an issue. But it was really more about the the setting the pace. And for some reason, they had Star Lord Steve out. And again, this is a very, very fuzzy picture. And
Such a
lightsabers for
weird
some reason.
character.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
do not know.
I don't know what was happening there.
They
Oh,
just ran out of sets at that point.
yeah. Here's a better shot. Yeah, pretty much. I guess it was like, hey, let's plant some lightsabers around. Have a guy that sort of,
Yeah.
kind of looks like he could be Star Lord here, and we'll get some pictures there. So
Was that
by that
Gamora
point,
also?
was it
Am
Gamora?
I crazy? It looked like
Oh
there
no, you're
was
right. No,
someone else
that's
in costume.
absolutely Gamora. Yeah, which you
Okay.
rarely see. So
Yeah.
again, rare characters. Well, you see her a lot in California, but not here. So then we get backstage and we pull up. This is between the test tracks on the right. The Space 220 is on the left, and we're coming back through here. And again, you were long gone by this point.
Hmm.
You had already passed me by on this one. And then again, here's in motion. This is how quickly we were moving.
It feels a lot faster than that when you're the ones power walking. It feels like
But
you're motoring by.
yeah, and then here's us running backstage towards the Guardians building. You can't even see it, right, because of
What
the sky
what
blue,
Guardians
and
building?
yeah, what Guardians building? It's not even there. What you couldn't see there, and I'm not sure I got a good shot of it, was that Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps were over on the side here. Again, I'm so close to the end. I'm gonna stop here and get in line for Judy Hopps. No,
Yeah. What? No. Nice
no,
try.
that's yeah. Nice try, Judy Hopps. This was the children's choir or the choir that was singing Eye to Eye. I feel like they were also singing High School Musical at some point. Maybe.
I don't remember. All I remember
Yeah,
is Eye to Eye.
yeah. We're getting so close at that point, and
Yep.
then this is me crossing that finish line. The guy behind
Let's
me hamming
go.
it up, but me just going go 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 go.
Couldn't hold back anymore. Took off running.
Yeah.
Didn't you say the rest of the group was like, "What are you doing?" You just started sprinting.
I was sprinting
Yeah.
to try to get ahead of the rest at this point. Um, but yeah, that was it. So I did cross the finish line. I did get through this one. Yeah, I know, right? Here's you crossing the finish line though, like a champ. You got some.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at you.
I was sprinting at the end. I wanted to pass some people.
Notice it was still dark when you crossed over,
No, don't worry about that. It was just the
and
lighting.
it
I'm
was
sure
light. It was
no,
light when
no.
I crossed over.
Must have been like a cloud or something. I'm sure.
This is you cheesing it for the camera, by the way. Like you giving it a little,
No.
giving a little smile, giving a little smile. Yeah, it's great.
Oh my gosh.
William's like, "Run, Forrest, run." That's what it felt like, man. That was like
It did, yeah.
me trying to make that. So quite the action shots at Dawn, trying not to fall. Probably. Yeah. So anyway, so once we made it through, then it was like this assembly line of people handing you stuff. So these people, I
It
think,
was
were handing.
so much stuff. Oh my
But these people
gosh.
were handing us the medals. You got
That's
your
the
medal?
good
You want to
stuff. That's
show
what
off
you
the medal
want.
for a second again?
Oh, this thing right here.
Yeah.
Got
How about
the-
that? Yeah. Ooh.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
That's
so
a nice-
scared I was gonna drop this.
Yeah. I mean,
You
it's
just finished the race and you're out of breath and you're shaky or whatever.
yeah.
Like, here's a nice medal. Don't drop it. You
Well,
won't get
it was
two.
nice. It was nice of them to do that. When we were doing the race, somebody said to me something about make sure to get the plastic cheese, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And
I
so
remember you telling me that.
yeah, so then after that, there's a line where you go through and they give you a box of like a refuel box. These runDisney like refuel boxes, like recovery boxes, and I was,
It was good stuff.
yeah, I was very surprised. So I actually, because I have a tendency to take a picture of things, here's what was in the recovery box. And you can see that fake cheddar plastic cheese in there, that some Mott's fruit snacks, some M&Ms, some baked Tostitos, whatever the honey stinger is, and the
Honestly,
Lance
that was my
crackers.
favorite. That honey,
honey
stinger
stinger?
was really good. Yeah, that was really good.
But yeah, and here's a close up of my medal, which still sits in its plastic bag as it should. Right there. Adventure is out there with the up house and Kevin in the
Truly
background
is.
and Doug and Russell in the foreground, and it's
Here.
freaking adorable. And then here's a picture of you, me, and Steph and Allie holding our medals.
Yeah, but do you see all the stuff that I'm carrying? They
Right.
handed us
They-
those boxes and the medals, and then they handed us a banana, and then a water bottle, and then a Powerade,
And a
they're
cooling
made out
towel.
of the sweat. Yeah, cooling towel. There's
The
so
cooling
much
towel.
stuff.
Yep. So the cooling towel, the water bottle, the Powerade, the medal, the box,
The
and
box,
you're right.
the
There was a
banana.
separate banana. Like the banana was separate from the
No,
rest of
I
it.
I
So-
had like my arms holding everything, trying to come around the corner. Like,
And they didn't
There's
want you to
so
slow
much
down
stuff.
either. They're like, take all your crap. Like, take
Yeah,
this.
keep
Take
it,
your
move,
freaking
move,
banana. Take this. And then there's this like whole area where it's just like, like spread out. And then they had like vans of places where you could have like checked your bags and things if you didn't have anybody to watch your bags, and they had medical tents. And
they
I mean,
had
it
one of those
wasn't
like airport, like once you cross this line, you cannot return
yeah
spots.
for security purposes. Yeah, you couldn't
Yeah.
go back behind the enemy lines, but
Mhm.
yeah, it was a thing. It was a thing. I again, it was not. I didn't know half this stuff was going to happen. I didn't know that there was going to be that much stuff on the course to see. I knew about the characters. I didn't understand the characters because I didn't understand. Hey, run, 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 run! But whoop, here's a reason to stop. Here's a reason to stop. It didn't make any sense to me. But again, when you pay this much for a race, and it was not cheap, you want to get your money's worth. And I feel like with the shirt that you have, which was included, the medal, the box of food, the entertainment, and the opportunity to run through Epcot, in the middle of the morning or whatever. I feel like that's there's a value to that. Like, it's an
It
experience
was
that you
an
and I
amazing
feel like we'll
experience.
never forget.
Yep. No, it was awesome. It
And
was
since
really
Allie
cool.
is
Definitely worth
my
doing.
supplier and she was in town, she passed off these popcorn buckets to me. So, yeah, she now lives in Florida, so there's not that happening. But so my race time, and this is what they give you, and I'm not embarrassed. I ain't shy. So it says the start of the day was 5 hours and 5:08 in the morning is when we started. And then it said my first 5K, so the first half, I was pacing at 16:58. The last part of it, I was pacing, or I guess for the whole thing, I was pacing 17:07. So clearly, slowed down a little bit, which I thought was weird because I thought I was picking up along the way. So that's mine. Yours, an hour 23. Look at that. And look at your end time was 10 minutes. How did you go? Mine went up, yours went down. That's crazy. I guess that's what happens when you race. 13.26. So 13 minutes 26 seconds for a mile, which I'm sure is not
Yeah.
your favorite. 17 minutes is
But
over what they tell you should do. So 17 minutes. I didn't do great, but I
but for
got I
people that
beat.
are worried about getting ballooned, when they start like an hour after you started running, being like 1 minute off pace is not a huge problem.
Yeah.
Just as long as you
Uh
get to the front of your corral.
William thinks that the M&Ms were left over from Mickey's Not So Scary.
Yeah, maybe they did taste a little stale. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
So
those
so
cooling
yeah.
towels are really nice. I still have mine.
Yeah. Yeah, and shout out to Jungle Cruisers. Like, I got you now. I got you covered. My new
Oh,
my new West Coast supplier.
that's what he
Um,
needs. More popcorn buckets.
Thank you. At least somebody understands that. But again, there's a tracker in your bib, so it says, here's your tracker, and here's your average pace, and I guess you can add to this and continue to add for your next races and things like that. But it's neat to look at that data, and I think
It's
after
really
we
cool.
after we were done, I was convinced I'm not going to sleep. I'm gonna be up, and you were like, I'm out. I'm going to sleep. You went to sleep. I
Head
came
hit the
back. You
pillow.
were already out, and I was like, well, when in Rome. So I came back to the room after collecting my popcorn buckets and did definitely go to sleep. I mean, I think we went back immediately. We got on the bus with all our junk, went back to Old Key West, got out, got back in our car, drove to our room, showered. I went and picked up popcorn buckets. You stayed and you guys stayed and slept a little bit, and then we got
Yeah.
up because we had a reservation again for lunch, and we went and
That's how you stay
we
motivated. You just make
yeah
reservations.
yeah, exactly. So we loaded up at Steakhouse 71. We got
Oh,
some
so good.
the steak sandwich and the fries and um yeah, and really loaded up, and then we went to the park because that's what you do after you're there. You go, you
You're
put
at
on you put
Disney.
on your shirt. You put
Yeah,
on
come on.
your Adventure is Out There shirt, and you hit the
Yep.
parks in your
Gotta show
cool
off.
haunted mansion sunglasses and your and your brand new shirt, and you go and you hang out and you do Tron or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, but you weren't wearing your medal because, like you said, you
No,
didn't want it to hit the ground, right?
that'd be crazy to wear your
Yeah.
medal.
Yeah, and then just because Jake, I saw in the chat, and we saw Stitch in Tomorrowland there. Um, so we went and did the race, and then we got up, and then we went to or we went and slept a little bit, got up, went to lunch at Steakhouse 71, went and did Magic Kingdom for the day. I think this is hands down the most steps I've ever had in
Oh my
in a
God,
single
yes.
day. In a single day, this
Yep.
is the most steps I've ever had, and it's not just because I did a 10K, because that wasn't the bulk of it. It was the walking to the 10K, running the 10K, walking around afterwards to cool down, getting on the bus, then walking once we got back to the Magic Kingdom, and also being up from basically 2:30 until whatever time we went to bed. So I think that was
Yeah.
clearly the most that I've ever
Also,
done.
going to get the popcorn buckets.
Um, yeah, true. yeah, so we got a lot covered in that time, and went and hung out. I think we were pretty done though.
Yeah, no, we were beat after that.
318% of my.
You probably thought someone stole your phone.
Can you imagine how many Pokemon eggs you can open for that? A lot.
Oh, good amount, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I was
Um,
playing Pokemon Go while I was doing the race, for sure.
See, I
I
wasn't thinking
I
that
had
far
that going.
ahead. I wasn't thinking that far ahead. But that was Saturday, and then Sunday we went and did studios, and we did some Star Wars, and we did some roundup barbecue, and then flew back home. So that
I
was
don't
like pretty
remember.
much the trip. What?
Did we have a hard time waking up early that next day? I feel like it was fine. I feel like we were
No,
just good to go.
no. I think you looked like you were doing pretty well. I think you looked pretty chipper. This was you the next day. So
Wait, it's Nubs, my favorite character.
hey, it's Nubs. You love Nubs.
I
Yeah,
love Nubs.
yeah, yeah. Anything else that you can think of on this one? I mean, where are you going? You've got your Nubs action figure.
Yeah, put it right there.
That's my boy. Look at that.
Young Jedi. No,
Um,
that's I think that's most of it. Um,
yeah,
One thing I think would be neat is with that app, since they track your progress at all these different checkpoints to give you your time and how fast you're doing each mile. I think they should have something that says how many characters you stopped and got a picture with, because maybe that's impressive if you got every character and still finished with a good time. Maybe they need
that.
to track something like that.
Yeah. Um, I think that, yeah, that would. I wish I could have interacted more with the. I wish there were more characters like after the fact. I don't think I saw any, and there may have been still some over on the side, but there were some beforehand, and there were some over at the other
Not
event.
any
So
official characters, but I think we did get to spot Jack.
yes, the guy dressed up as Jack. Oh, the costumes. So with that said, what would you do differently? Would you want to do costumes? Because again, we wore our shirts that were matching
Oh no.
ish.
Oh
No,
no. Yeah. No. I'm not gonna run a 10K in a costume. I mean, if you're a runner and you're okay with that, you want the really good pictures, maybe. But if I was running a 10K in a costume, it would be falling apart by the time I get to the photos. No, I would not want to do that. I think we did it right. I think we did everything right. I didn't think the 10K was awful either. I think it was very doable. Even walking the whole thing would be fine. Um, I think everything was good. I just wish it wasn't so early. But no, everything was really cool. I would do it again, especially if they had one at like a different park that we could see, like a different side of things.
now, what I would have loved to have done, and again, the Springtime Surprise Weekend 2025 was this past weekend. What I would have
Ah,
liked
we
to have.
missed it.
Oh,
Yeah.
shoot.
Oh well.
And I just started training too.
Ah,
Um,
just about
oh,
to.
yeah. The marathon that happens at Walt Disney World happens at is already sold out again. Now the 5K race
Marathon.
would cost you a marathon. The 5K race there would cost you $120. The 10K is 166. The half marathon is 240, and the full marathon is 242. Well, you might as well do the full marathon then, if
That's the
like a
best
half
value.
only costs you, yeah. And then the Dopey Challenge, which is all of it together, is $736. Yeah. Um,
Doing a full marathon in addition to all the other stuff? That's crazy. Who would do that?
Crazy people. Um,
That's
so
so
there
wild.
is a club run Disney that you can join because again these things sell out so quickly. There's a club run Disney that you can join. So what you're doing is you're paying a membership cost for the
Oh my
privilege of
god.
being able to be the first one to pay for a submission cost, an entry cost, for the privilege of paying for a Disney World trip where you get up at 2 in the morning and you run and yeah.
It's
No,
crazy. It's
so
crazy.
you're definitely paying a lot of money, but a
But tell
silver
me you
membership.
weren't thinking about joining. Tell me that didn't cross your mind. Get that 5K.
I I would like
It's
to do the 5K because I feel like it's a little bit less. So,
Mhm.
So for a platinum membership to this club Run Disney, it is you get a magnet, a card, a Club Run Disney medal, and a Club Run Disney pin. It's pricing for a year. You get tier 1 pricing year round for available Run Disney races, exclusive 2025 Club Run Disney virtual 10K. And a virtual 10K would mean you would run it at home. Club Run
You did
Disney.
one of those, didn't you?
I'm going to talk about that in a second.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Club Run Disney designated race bib, guaranteed opportunity to purchase 2 race registrations in each race weekend through early registration. So at the different tiers, you actually have permission to do like either 1 race or 2 races. You go to the expo, early access to the expo, upgraded corral placement, which is good because you don't want to be back with the balloon ladies. That platinum membership costs $993 before you ever get to a race. $993, and it is sold out.
Per year?
Yes, per year.
That's crazy.
The gold membership is $635, and it gives you guaranteed opportunity to purchase 1 race registration in each race. And that's $630. That's $635, and then a silver membership is $289, and you don't get an exclusive opportunity to buy. So you could buy the silver membership and not get the ability to buy early.
What's the point of silver then? Just getting the pin and the magnet?
And the membership card. Membership have the privileges. You get the welcome kit, a member jacket. A jacket. Jackets are nice.
Okay.
I assume that this is the member jacket probably.
Do you get a jacket every year or just the first time you sign up?
I assume every year if you're paying $289 a year.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah. And again, I'm not trying to knock that. I'm just saying it is so, and Alicia's saying it's so hard to get into the races, though. Agree.
Yeah, no, like you said, you're really good at getting these things, and it sold out immediately. So,
right.
like, if you're dead set on doing this, and this is something you're going to do, it could be worth doing the membership. Like,
yeah.
You don't get nothing out of it.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. So it's one of those things where you so want to get that 5K because the 5K seems like it'd be fun. I think that they're a little more lenient on their times. Again, Disney posts that you need to be able to complete a 16-minute mile, which if you walk fast consecutively, you should be able to do that. So anyway,
here's a question I have. I don't know if you have the answer to this. If you try to do the full challenge, but you don't get into the 5K individually, how does that work? Or
you still it includes everything.
Okay.
So if you buy the challenge, you get the 5K, the 10K, and the 10 miler. If you buy the challenge,
even if the 5K itself is sold out.
Correct. They hold some for that level. They're holding space for the music of Wicked.
Yeah.
But so within that though, you get all of that. That's why that Dopey challenge is 700 and what I say 736 for the Dopey challenge because you're getting all of those races even though they're sold out. So those are usually the ones that hang on because most people are like, no, I'm not going to run all of that. I just want the 5K. I want the fun part. And again, I think it would be really cool. So Andrew C is saying the 5K race is not chip timed, FYI. So again, they're keeping
more
you
casual.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, honestly, I would love to do the 5K at some point. I want to do a race at Disneyland because I feel like you get to run in the parks more. This one, I felt like we did a lot of running on like World Drive, but it was also cool going behind the scenes.
Do the Disneyland one goes through both parks, or is it just one?
I'm not really sure. I think that they're probably they probably go through both depending.
We'll just have to go and find out, I guess.
I guess we will.
Check it out,
yeah. So again, so you would do this again, knowing like all the fears you had going into it.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Because a lot of the stress I had was getting to the right place and making sure I was at the right spot. And now that we've seen where to go and how it works, it's just running the race. You know, that's the easy part, right? It was super fun. I liked seeing it a lot. Do they? This is the only one I've done, obviously, but do they do other parks or is it always Epcot?
No, I think they do other parks. Oh, they used to have one that I loved the concept of, and it was a Twilight Zone Tower of Terror half
Yes.
marathon or 13-mile run. I would have totally done that because A, I think it was at night, which again, no problem, we can do at night,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
B, it was like not like a full marathon. I would have loved to have done that. I don't think they offer that one anymore though. So you mentioned this a little while ago. So there are also virtual runs. And again, if you go to
Mhm.
runDisney.com, you can see like the Club Disney and the Run Disney and all the things that they have to offer on Run Disney. This is where you can find out that basically everything is sold out. If you go into the
Yeah.
events, you can see here's Disneyland. Here's the race. There's one in September, the Halloween half marathon weekend. Sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out. So the Chills and Thrills challenge is $450. Even that one's sold out. But they also do what are called virtual events, so that you can go in and find a virtual event. So here's the Run Disney Virtual Series June through August, which I think a lot of these are sold out too. Now, the one you can do is you can do the virtual challenge, the Disney Happily Ever After, which is all of it. But there was a 5K Pirates of the Caribbean, 5K Jungle Cruise, 5K Big Thunder, and here are like the races. So you would get again the challenge is the Disney Happily Ever After. So if you buy the challenge, it includes all three of these. But they send you like a bib and some mile markers so that you can make your own race and all of that stuff.
The
So
medal, right?
and you're like, get me that medal.
I mean, that's
Yes,
what you're paying for.
yes. So you know what? Now I know what to get you for Christmas, son. I'll just buy you like a box full of medals, and it'd just be like it'd be the happiest day of your life, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
when COVID happened, I don't know if you remember COVID. You were here for COVID.
What is that?
Oh, anyway. So
No,
when
I
it
think I
happened,
remember.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So when COVID happened, I think everybody was trying new things, and so I actually entered or one of the virtual Run Disneys, and that may have been when it started. I'm not a historian on all of this stuff, but I think it may have started then. The idea of like, well, you can't come here, so maybe you can run from home, and so they did a virtual series, and I bought the virtual 5K, and it's in this box because
Oh
I
man.
never did it, and I never felt like I earned opening the box. So here's what I'm going to do is
Oh.
we're coming yeah, no, it's fine. We're coming up on like my 1 year of trying to actually get in shape, because if you look at me now and you look at those pictures, you know I was not in shape back then. So I think on my 1 year anniversary of getting back into shape, I'm going to do this 5K.
That's exciting.
So June 18th. So it'll be right after Father's Day weekend. So I'm planning on doing this virtual 5K and trying to hit now again, stamina wise, I know I can do it, but I'm going to try to do it in like say 40, what's fair, 45 minutes. Does that sound right?
Sounds right
Because
to
again,
me.
they give you a 16-minute window. So if I can do it in 15, that should be fair, right?
Yeah, I think more
So
than.
you'll hold me to that then?
Yeah, you gonna be driving next to you, making sure you're on track.
Yeah, yeah. You can carry a balloon behind me and scare the crap out of me, and then we'll have mom driving a van behind that to try to scare me
Yeah,
even more into
I'll
doing
just
that.
be
But
shouting the pace at you. 1601.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, all right. So we're gonna do it. So June 18th, I'm gonna do this virtual
That's
5K,
exciting.
and then maybe we'll come back on and do, as Stormy Stitch said, an unboxing. It was, by the way, I believe it was a villains maybe 5K.
I
So
think it was
yeah,
a good one.
yeah. So that should be exciting, and again, give us something else that we can do, content wise down the road. But again, the virtual thing I think sounds cool. They did one at Christmas that was the medals were Christmas ornaments, so you could wear them or you
Yeah.
could put them on your tree. Now, one other thing that happened that I didn't mention here is you did a 5K that I didn't do that was Disney
Oh yeah, I
at
forgot about
Castaway
that.
Key. At Castaway
Yeah.
Key, do you remember that at all?
Barely. I remember running around the deck of the boat. They have like a running floor to prepare for it. And I remember getting to the island and it being super hot and then just like a straight like asphalt, no shade. Uh and that's about it. That's about all I remember. I don't think they had all the bells and whistles that these Run Disneys have. I don't think they were characters. I don't think they were DJs.
And
Um
I think it was one of those things where they're like you. It was like you and two other people, maybe. Like I don't think everybody knew about it on each
yeah,
trip.
I
Like I
do
don't think there
think
were a
there
ton of
was
people.
very few people doing that.
Yeah.
Why would you go on a cruise ship to run a 5K?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I would. I'm glad you got a chance to do it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but here's one last thing: is you can do the coast to coast race challenge, where you do the race at Disneyland and you do the race at Disney World in the same year, and then you can win the coast to coast medal. So maybe that's in your on your dream board is to be able to do the coast to coast race challenge.
Not mine. But more power to the people doing that.
Power to the
I
people
respect
doing
it.
that. Yep.
Yep. All
Awesome.
those platinum Run Disney members out there.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm talking about the high cost and the high price, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit jealous.
It was an
Um,
awesome experience. I loved it and I would do it again.
yeah. All right. Well, and again, if you guys have any questions about anything that happened that you're like, oh, did this happen? Did that happen? Go ahead and put them in the chat below after we're done, and we'll respond to them and let you know
Yeah.
how it was. But I mean, I'm glad you came on to talk to me about this because it was fun, kind of like sharing our experiences about it. But I
Yeah.
think
Thanks
sometimes
for
people
inviting
think
me.
you and I are the same person sometimes. So I feel like our experiences are very similar. No, not really.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, have you ever seen both of us in the same room at the same time?
Hmm. Wow. That's a thinker. No. So before we leave, I want to thank everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us live with this. And if you're watching on demand, thank you guys for joining and coming and visiting our new channel, which is called the Park Adventurers Club. As you can see right here, we're talking about our 10K race. We've got some things on here where I talked about plastics. We do a weekly review show called A Look on the Plus Side. We do that every Wednesday night. So if you guys have some time, please come by Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. for A Look on the Plus Side. We had a former show that we did on another network that actually is in the new Goofy movie, the Goofy, Not Another Goof, which is a documentary on Disney Plus. So people who were on that panel, including myself, were in that. It was very exciting. But we would love for you guys to join us on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. And then come back here on Monday nights, and we'll do another Rob Loves Everything live stream situation. I know Adam's cooking up something for the channel. I know we've got some other folks, Shannon, Stephanie, Rob Bazemore, a bunch of other folks who have done stuff with us in the past who are going to be doing things on this channel. We're working towards something where we do a parks show. It'll look different than the one you know, but we'll do that sometime soon. If you are interested in helping support the channel, we're not quite at the point where we can get monetization on the channel, but the ways you can support us are subscribe if you haven't already. We would love to have you subscribe. If you have not already watched some of our videos, please watch some of our videos so we can get those watch hours. And if you would like to support us and be part of what we're calling the PAC, which is the Park Adventurers Club, PAC, then you can go to patreon.com/GoPack. Find out more about how to join. We've got a Discord all set up that you can join and be there with other people that are members of the pack. And thank you guys so much who have joined the pack already. I appreciate you. You guys know who you are, and the support means everything. So thank you guys so much. Adam, thanks for spending your Monday night here with your old man
Of
talking
course.
about
Thanks for having
Disney
me. It's fun
stuff
to relive it
and
all.
relive it all. Well, I mean, it's the 1 year anniversary
Yeah.
ish.
I mean, it was a blur going back through all the photos. It's a lot to remember.
You're like, who did that? That was at 2:30 in the morning? That's crazy.
Not me.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. Thank you for being here on the channel. Thank you guys for your support. Thanks for sitting through this. Hopefully you learned something. If not, hopefully you just had a good time hanging out with us. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. and hopefully we will see you again very soon. Have a good one.